There is some really cool stuff happening in the Triangle in 2023. I can't wait to see some of these things materialize. One has been in the works for 19 years and is finally opening this year, and another one is something that really took me by surprise. And I think I'm gonna have to add this town as another one of my towns that's getting ready to boom, because this development is gonna change everything. And before I get into the cool stuff that's happening this year, I want to give you a quick snapshot of what the real estate market in the Triangle looks like right now. If you watched my video where I gave an overview of the economist's predictions for the market this year, you'll know that the general consensus is that the Triangle area and the South in general is going to be somewhat protected from much of the economic fallout in the housing market. They're predicting a 5% home value increase in the Raleigh area in 2023. And if that surprises you, keep watching, because once you see some of the data, you'll see why that isn't a stretch. But that doesn't mean that prices haven't softened some since the peak of last year. Things are certainly cheaper right now than they were if you were buying last spring. But let's take a look at what is happening right now, and I think you'll see why economists are feeling the way they are about the South. For the most part, inventory is not getting better. Every day in my dashboard, I get a snapshot of the hot sheet. This is everything that goes under contract and everything that's new to the market within 24 hours. I can also expand it to look at the 3 or 7 day hot sheet. It's important to note that these are not closed sales. These are the most recent properties that went into contract and new properties added to the market. This snapshot helps us to see what's happening in real time, because as a lot of you remind me in the comments, thank you, closed sales are backwards looking data based on properties that went under contract about a month ago. And of course, markets can change in a month. So this snapshot helps us look at what's happening right now. Here's the deal. Over the last 7 days, 1,534 properties left the market. 1,388 went under contract, 60 expired without selling, and 86 were withdrawn by the seller. In that same time period, we had 800 new active listings on the market. Basically, the number of listings that came on the market was 52% of the listings that came off the market. Not enough to replace them. Now, let's look at the 24-hour view. 47 properties came on the market, 148 went under contract, 6 were withdrawn, and 10 expired. So a total of 164 left the market, and only 47 came onto the market in 24 hours. So only 29% of the properties that left the market were replaced. But there's a plot twist. About 6 months ago, there was a pretty big change in the MLS that makes all of these new properties coming on the market even lower than it looks on paper. I'll explain that in a minute, but first let's look at what inventory looks like by town, because things really are different depending on where you're buying. Now, these town inventory snapshots are based on sales that went under contract 30 days ago, so it is backward-looking data, but it gives us a context and it shows us the progression of how the market is changing, so it's important to look at it. You can see that the highest amount of inventory is in Zebulon, where they have 6.9 months of inventory. Whenever you have more than 6 months of inventory, you've shifted into a buyer's market, so Zebulon is the one town in the Triangle that's considered to be in a buyer's market. There was a lot more new construction out there than any of those other places. Wake Forest, Garner, Wendell, Clayton, and Fuquay all have about 3 months of inventory. Nightdale and Raleigh have just over 2 months of inventory. Holly Springs, Morrisville, Cary, and Apex have a little over a month of inventory, and Chapel Hill and Durham have the lowest inventory in the Triangle with about 3 weeks each. So you can see that if we consider that more inventory is leaving the market than coming on the market, that inventory levels would decrease as we move forward, assuming the trajectory holds. I'm really hoping that this trend does not continue, because if we are seeing decreasing inventory in March, that would not be good. With so little coming onto the market in relation to what's leaving the market this close to spring, I'm thinking some of this price softening is going to be pretty transitory. And here's the plot twist. Last year, the Triangle MLS decided to link together with the Longleaf Pines MLS so that in TMLS, we can now see and show inventory that's coming on the market for the areas that Longleaf Pines serves. Longleaf Pines MLS covers 20 counties in southeast North Carolina. Towns like Sanford, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, and Fayetteville are now all counting as new listings in the Triangle MLS. But here's the thing, most of these areas are pretty far from the Triangle, but those 24-hour and 7-day views of inventory that's new to the market included plenty of those listings in those areas. So when I say we've got 800 new listings in the Triangle over the last 7 days, what I really mean is not that we have 800 new listings in the 17 counties of the Triangle area. I mean 800 new listings in the 17 counties plus the 20 counties in the Longleaf Pines MLS. The Triangle area has about 2 million people. The area that Longleaf Pines MLS serves is about another million. Longleaf Pines is more rural with fewer jobs, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the majority of home searches are happening in the Triangle, which makes inventory in Longleaf Pines much less applicable applicable to our data here in Raleigh, so it may feel like there's even less inventory in the triangle than the hot sheet shows. Will we see inventories rise this spring and prices continue to soften, or will the inventory crunch force buyers back into competition and the dreaded bidding wars? The jury's still out, but I will definitely be letting you know how it progresses. But now let's move on to new developments in the triangle, because there is some really exciting stuff happening. In 2023, Harmony Realty will begin development of Downtown South. This is going to be a 70,000 square foot music venue with a rooftop lounge, and will also include multiple office and residential towers on South Saunders Street in Raleigh. This is going to be a whole new lifestyle district. Now, this land where they're planning to put this development is kind of a wet mess. Actually, there are only 2 homes currently in this area because of the lack of buildability. Who else but John Kane would take 135 acres in a floodplain and try to develop it? But it's an incredible location geographically speaking, so the developer's planning on using the water feature, i.e. swamp, to his advantage. This is actually an incredible idea because Raleigh really is missing some good water features in the downtown area, which is crazy because anyone who has ever tried to drive into the parking garage in Crabtree Mall after a rain knows that we've got plenty of water around here. The Kane Group is going to channel that water into something that is bound to be beautiful. They're envisioning a connection to the surrounding parks and communities that doesn't currently exist in this area. The project is going to have office space, retail, multifamily units, and hotel space. The Raleigh Greenway system already runs right through this area and eventually connects to Lake Johnson, but they'll be adding even more raised walkways and bridges over water features. There will be 14 total acres of green space, ball fields, community gathering spaces, an entertainment and sports venue. The developers are committed to including a significant percentage of affordable housing, with 30% of that housing geared towards seniors. I cannot wait to see this completed. This will have a huge positive impact on the city. For 19 years, the town of Cary had envisioned an incredible urban park, the likes of which had not been seen in Cary. A place for social gatherings, a place to meet friends, for classes and events, a place for music and hanging out at an outdoor bar with your four-legged friend. And then just a few years ago, they finally opened the park in a brand new town square with the library complex. And then 2 years later, they closed it for 2 years so nobody could use it. But the long-awaited ultimate vision is finally coming to fruition this year. They plan to open in the spring of 2023. The park will feature a great lawn and a unique tiered water feature. The lawn will be fronted by a pavilion, and interspersed around the lawn will be a series of unique spaces or rooms linked by paved walking trails. Additional features include performance places, market spaces, public art incorporated to the landscape, food and beverage facilities, a children's play area, interactive water features, a dog play area, and walkways for strolling and relaxing. There'll be lots of programming, including art exhibitions, arts and crafts classes, performances and concerts, cardio and fitness classes, book clubs, story time, programs, movies. They're even talking about making the park a social district, which is a little complicated to understand, but the best I could figure was that they're opening up public outdoor drinking downtown in certain locations. I'm actually a little more excited about downtown North at Knightdale Station than I am about the other two, because it's such a huge growth opportunity for the town of Knightdale. This is going to be like North Hills meets downtown Cary. Downtown North at Knightdale Station was unanimously approved by the town council on January 19th.
I'll make a motion to adopt the LURB recommended advisory statement, adopt the staff recommended conditions, and adopt ordinance 2301-18003, approve ZMA 1322.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Majority approves. Motion carries.
People, buy real estate in Knightdale now, because this development is going to take Knightdale from a rural small town to a well-planned small city. It's going to be big. This is really the first big development in Eastern Wake County. Development has taken longer to come to this side of town, but something like this could really set the ball rolling. Look at this proposal. Now, I don't know if Whole Foods and Amazon Books would really be anchor tenants. Eastern Wake really needs a Whole Foods. There isn't one close at all, and with planned communities like Knightdale Station and Wendell Falls, this side of town is really begging for some upscale growth. There's going to be big retail spaces for places like Banana Republic, and also smaller shops designed for small scale tenants. They'll have condos, townhomes, and single family units, greenways, lots of green space, a pool and clubhouse, and community art, and an amphitheater. This is just going to be amazing. If you like this video, you might also like this one where I talk about 2023's hottest real estate market predictions.